Hey, this is Andrew Brown from ExamPro. I'm also joined here with my twin sister who went out and collected a bunch of questions from a variety of different people online. And so I'm just filling this out for her so that she has the answers to all these questions so she can go and help people. But I figured while I was doing that, I might as well record it and just show how I go about answering all these questions. And, maybe you'll find something that is something that you want to know about. So we'll start here with general questions. Let's start at the top here. So I am a developer and architect. Should I concentrate on doing the developer certification next or the solutions architect professional professional? Maybe after end year. So I think what they're trying to say is I'm a developer, and they might mean like I'm a solutions architect, right? And so should I concentrate on doing the developer certification next? So this is a bit confusing because there's the DevOps professional and the solutions architect professional. So they could be talking about that, or they could be saying, I want to go on to do the developer. So maybe they have the solutions architect associate and they're saying, I'm going to move on to the developer, or should I go on to the pros? So there's two different questions here that they might mean. So the first is, should I, I'm a developer and solution architect, should I proceed to, and we'll say associate here, to doing more associate levels, and specifically the developer, because that is my primary skill set. Okay. Or, should I proceed to the professional level like the solutions architect professional? Okay, so that's reworded. I'm just going to take this one, put it up here, and we're going to indicate that it's the old one with maybe like, with like a light gray background here. Okay, so this is me rewording the question. And so there's two different answers here, right? So this is Q1, Q2. So what I normally say is, I'm getting echo back there, Sam. Maybe you got to take me off of hands-free or whatever you're doing there. Or turn down your sound there. But so, when we're talking about whether somebody should move on to other associates professional, if you take a professional certification, they're 10 times more difficult than the associate level. So if you spend too much time at the associate level, you're not pushing yourself to advance your skills. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need to get a professional certification unless you are doing it for the job requirement. Rarely do I recommend people to go for the professional level unless it's a personal challenge or if their job requires it. So in this recommendation here, I would say, if you're looking to apply AWS for practical knowledge, then I would recommend, in this case, to obtain the AWS Developer Associate Certification. I recommend professional certifications if your job requires it. Like, so example, if you work at like a cloud consultancy. Okay, or if it's a personal challenge to yourself. Okay, so that's how I'd answer that one. But sometimes you have to rework it because, people are asking questions. They don't always give you all the information. And that's totally fine. I'm always happy to kind of fill in those gaps there. I'll never say like, oh, reword this for me, okay? So what is the difference between a load balancer and application gateway? It depends on what they mean by application gateway. There's API gateway. So let's go take a look here and see, just to double check. Whoops, I did not mean to open up all that stuff here. We'll just take that off screen here. But what I want to do here is just look up application gateway because I don't even know what that is. Oh, so we're talking about Azure. Okay. So, because, I know what all these things are, but, they use different terminologies everywhere. So let's look up an application level gateway. So an application level gateway, ALG, is a security component that augments a firewall or NAT employed in a computer network. It allows for NAT traversal filters to be plugged into the gateway, supports address and port translation for certain application layers. So let's just go look at an Azure application gateway diagram here. Okay, so this is basically like ALB, so application load balancer, right? So this probably, yeah, that's what it is. It's a load balancer. Okay, so this is basically an ALB. Okay, so what they're really asking is, what is a load balancer versus an application gateway? Okay, but they could also be saying, what is the difference between a load balancer and an API gateway? Okay, because that's something else as well. All right, so it's always the trick to these questions, right? So for this one here, and I'm just going to maybe emphasize the original one here so we can see what they are. And so I'm just going to expand these here. So, you know, a load balancer is designed to accept incoming traffic from a source and distribute that traffic to multiple end targets. Commonly in cloud computing, the targets are a group of virtual machines. Okay, so then you have application gateway. So in the case of Azure Application Gateway, this is very similar to application load balancer, the AWS application load balancer. Okay, they have application in the name because they operate on the OSI level 7. I might have to look it up. It's probably, I think I would know this off the top of my head, but the OSI layers, it's layer 7, I'm pretty sure. So, because there's only 7 layers, so application layer there, right? And so the application layer operates there. So that's HTTP, FTP, things like that. So here, in the case of Azure Application Gateway, this is very similar to the AWS Application Load Balancer. They have application in the name because they operate on the OSI level 7. So they operate on HTTPS requests, right? So those are requests. Those are requests for things like websites, okay? And but the question is, like, what's the difference between a load balancer and that? So technically, both a load balancer and application gateway are load balancers, right? So an application gateway is just a specialized load balancer that can attach a web application firewall. Okay. And it still does load balancing. So there you go. So what is the difference between load balancer and API gateway? So that's another option it could be. So so an API gateway is similar to a load balancer in that they both receive incoming traffic and do something with that traffic. Okay. And an API gateway like what it does is it allows you to basically define, like lets you define API endpoints and then route those API endpoints to an end target. Commonly, API gateways for cloud computing route to serverless functions like e.g. AWS Lambda. Technically, API gateway has load balancing built in, but you do not generally control how that load balancing works. With a load balancer, e.g. application load balancer, or like Elastic load balancer, there is a lot of logic you can supply for scaling up and down instances or there's just more that you can do with it. Okay, so those are two different questions. Okay, is it worth it to get the Azure Administrator certification as a software engineer? I mean, worth is all based on for you, but I would just say, you know, if you are if you are in a cloud role, or your company is planning to use cloud, then any cloud certification at the associate level is valuable. So, for Microsoft certifications, so like we say, so Azure is a company, Azure is designed for Microsoft workloads, Windows servers. So if your company is Windows focused, then it is a good certification to pick up. But I would say, like most, most companies use Microsoft or Microsoft Active Directory to manage their employees, being able to authenticate to things like Office 365, SharePoint, into cloud services, into remote workstations and PlayStations, laptops, and phones. So learning Azure Administrator is good in all cases. Okay, so there's never no reason not to take the Azure Administrator. I always recommend to take it because you just don't get that Active Directory knowledge anywhere else. Okay, is it better to start with the SAA CO2 or the AZ900? So the SAA CO2 is a fundamental certification. Okay, the AZ900 is, oh, sorry, I got that backwards. This one's fundamental, is a fundamental certification. This is a associate certification, right? So the order usually goes like this. So you have fundamental, then associate, then professional, or specialty. Okay? And they get harder. Harder as you proceed in. So I would normally say things like fundamental is like we say 1 times hard. So this is like 1 times difficulty. I'd say this is like 3 to 4 difficulty. This could be like 10 times difficulty. Professionals are always pretty hard. And then like the specialties are a bit odd because they can be like 4 to 6, 4 to 8 difficulty. Okay. Difficulty listed generally as follows. Okay, so I always recommend starting with a fundamental certification. So, AZ900, CLF, CO1, that's AWS's. So I'll just put AWS in front of it so it's obvious. And then the GCP CDL, which doesn't have a course code, but I'm just doing that because I don't like writing out the whole thing. So pick one and, so get a fundamental first. And then move on to a associate. Now, can you go from AZ900 to the Solutions Architect Associate? Generally, it's not a good idea. When moving from fundamental to associate, generally good to stay with the same cloud provider initially. Okay. How do you like these answers? Is it okay, Sam? Okay, I'll keep going here. So should a dev take the 104 or 204 to become a solutions architect? Well, so the AZ 104 is administrator. The AZ 204 is developer, right? So, and so the thing is, the 204, the 104 is interesting. The AZ 104 is partly solutions architect, but you know, Azure doesn't have a pure solutions architect associate certification like AWS. So you can take both to kind of fill that out, but generally the path is the administrator. So because like even still like the solutions architect professional or whatever it's called for Azure is pretty much going to be in line with the administrator. So you know, even though it's not a perfect fit, you should go with the AZ 104, and then you can directly proceed to, I can't remember the course code for it, so I'm just going to pull it up here. I can never remember any course codes. So it's Solutions Architect Azure. Well, let's see if they've changed anything on me. They're always changing things. So we go down below here, because they're merging it into one. I don't know if they've done that yet. So the 303 and 304 will be retired for the 305. So this is it, the 305. So the AZ 305, right? To the AZ 305. Okay, so next question. The AZ 104, and we're on Azure questions. It says general, but these are, some of these are AWS, some of these are Azure. I guess you just didn't know where to put them, eh? Okay, that's fine. So the AZ 104 is partly, oh yeah, let's read my answer. What would be the best approach for Azure migration? That's a big one there, but like there's the Azure adoption framework, or the cloud adoption framework, that's what it is called. So migration is a complicated topic. Azure has a really good white paper called the Cloud Adoption Framework. There it describes a variety of migration strategies from on-premise or on-premise to Microsoft Azure. You know, because there are a few different ways. You know, there's like lift and shift. So like one option, and a very common one, would be lift and shift. So you just move your virtual machines. You just export and then import your virtual machines into similar Azure, or into the compatible Azure service. And in some cases, you can bring your own license. Okay, so, you know, it's almost impossible to give a recommendation there, but this has so much good stuff in it, and like they cover everything, right? Like how to plan, migrate. They have a whole section on migration and migration scenarios. So, you know, just going down here, they have a bunch of stuff. So that's something that I would strongly recommend looking into, okay? All right, so can you suggest Azure Cloud Security Certification pathway? Is it AZ 900, AZ 104, AZ 500? Well, first of all, you're missing the SC 900. So, you know, the pathway, do you need to learn hardcore programming? So, no, you don't need to learn hardcore programming. So, if you're looking to become a cloud security engineer, specializing in Azure, you don't need to have deep programming knowledge. Okay, because there's more than one part to this question, right? If you're looking to become a cloud engineer specializing in Azure, you don't need to have deep programming knowledge. You will have to have general programming knowledge and working with scripting, using monitoring tools. Okay. It's always good to start with the AZ900, no matter your path. Okay, because you get your basis there. From there, you want to get the SC900. Okay, SC900. I'm just pulling it up here on the left-hand side here. So this is the SC900. This is the Microsoft Security Compliance Identity Fundamentals. Okay, and so the thing about this certification here, the SC900 covers, and I have this in my course. I'll see if I can pull it up here in PowerPoint here. Just one moment. And honestly, my SC900 is my best course, but nobody takes it because they don't know. Like, I made that course because I wanted to have more fundamental knowledge at the security level. I was actually doing it for AWS, and I was going to make an AWS security fundamentals course, but I never got back to it yet. I'm just trying to close some of these PowerPoints. It's opening a bunch here. As you can see, I'm always working on stuff. So, and I'll just go, whoops, pull this back up here. I'm just pulling up the SC900 off screen here, because it's very hard for me to remember everything. So once I pull it up, this is like my external memory, so to speak. So we come over here, and I was hoping for the learning path. I'm still going to pull this up again, so I'll have to go to the folders and find it. Just a second here. So go to OneDrive, or sorry, SharePoint, and I want introduction. I think it's introduction here. Here we go. Okay, so I have this path here. And so this is a bit outdated. This is 305 now. But see, the idea is you go AZ900, then to the SC900. And it's good to get the administrator if you can, because there's just a lot of great knowledge there at the for like using Azure AD or just the general core services. But notice over here you have the AZ500, the SC300, the SC400, the SC200. If these have changed, I don't know. But the idea is that when you take the SC900, you're actually learning a bit of all of these. Right, so I have these lines that go like this, but you can actually do them in any order that you want. You don't have to get them all. You can just get the Azure Security Engineer, but what I'll do is just kind of describe this here. So it's always good to start with the AZ900 no matter your path, which is what we saw. From there, you want to get the SC900 because it will cover a bit of everything or it will touch a bit of everything. Okay. From there, I would recommend going for the AZ104 because you'll get deeper knowledge on core services. Okay. You can do the AZ204, but I find it's better to do the AZ104, okay? Just because like at the 204 level, it's like that's for building apps, right? So, honestly, I'll just take out this part. I'll just say the AZ104. I don't want people to get confused, but really, I think the 104 is a better recommendation. And then from there, you can take whatever you want. So, Azure has a lot, or Microsoft and Azure have a lot of security certifications. Okay, we have I'm just going to get here. So we have the Azure Security Engineer. That's the AZ500. You have the Identity and Access Administrator. That's the SC900 or SC300, sorry. Identity. Then here you have the Information Protection Administrator, SC400. And like you see this would be like more for like a CIO, right? Someone that's like this path. This one is more like maybe like security application developer. Okay, security engineer. Right. Used to be like chief information officer. Then you have security operations analyst. So this might be something for like DevSecOps, which technically is a security engineer, but like this is someone specialized with like DevOps where it meets with security. Okay. And so these are your options, but generally would recommend this path. So AZ900. From here, you go to the SC900. From there, I would go to the AZ104. And from there, I would say the AZ500. Okay. And so I'm just going to pull this one up here because we mentioned it over here. Oh, I didn't put the course code in for this one. This one is the SC200. Again, if these have changed, I don't know. Like Azure changes things so fast, so I never know here. But from here, what I would say is just like it would be very good to get security knowledge, general security knowledge outside of just Azure certifications. And so an example of this would be like the CCSK. Okay, I don't have a course for this yet, even though I say I do. It's still in the works. But I can just pull up the CCSK. CCSK, I always forget the initialisms. There it is. So, because that will give you fundamental knowledge across the board, I generally recommend the Certificate of Security Knowledge, so the CCSK. Okay, and a lot of people go for the CCSP or whatever it's called afterwards. You don't have to, but it's up to you. So that's that there. Okay, what are fundamentals of cloud computing? What are fundamentals of cloud computing? What a simple question, but like it gets complicated. So like the fundamentals of cloud computing would be cloud concepts, deployment models, shared responsibility model. We have CAPEX versus OPEX. We have total cost of ownership, digital transformation, evolution of computing, and like I've done this so many times, fundamentals. So for me, it's just kind of like a roadmap in my head. But if I just pull up the CLF here, I just want to show you, right? So like I have these cloud concepts, digital transformation, benefits of cloud, global infrastructure, POPs, data centers, regions, things like that. Then we have cloud architecture. So like when you see like AWS AZ900, all these things, they don't have all these things. And so what I did, even though this is AWS, I actually went and I took all the general information and I brought them in. So like the shared responsibility model, like I covered like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slides just on the shared responsibility model, because I'm generalizing the information so that, if you take this, you'll be able to go anywhere with it, right? Whereas like AWS would just give you one. They would just give you this one here, right? Or like cloud architecture doesn't really get talked about. So like bits and pieces get talked across the different fundamentals. So I kind of brought them all into here. So what I'm just saying is like, you're going to have gaps of knowledge if you just go with a single provider. But if you take one of my courses, I cover, everything here. So then you have like core services. So that would be compute, storage, networking, databases, things like that. Okay. But I'm just going to say the fundamentals can be found in my latest CLF CO1 course. It is AWS. However, I included lots of Auxiliary information. I learned while learning every single fundamental certification. You know, at some point I will release my own because we are making micro certifications. I'm telling this to you, Sam. So it's just like there's a lot of AWS stuff or GCP stuff in there, but I wish there was more generalized one that was just like you could do that's shorter in time but gives you more impactful information. You know, like migration, so like cloud adoption / migration, well architected frameworks, well architecture, I guess, cloud, and that could be like cloud architecture as well. But generally, that's the kind of categories you want to learn. How do I book my exam? It varies. It varies with every single exam. You know, generally, like I'll give you an example. So like with HashiCorp, you connect, I think, your GitHub account, and then you book it via Pearson VUE. Okay, and like so like Google, you book it through Criterion, like Google Cloud. Okay, Criterion. I can't spell Criterion today. Assuming, because I know they were going to change providers. I don't know if that's happened yet. Just trying to type Criterion here. Criterion. Ah, there it is. Okay, for like AWS, you sign up to AWS like training.aws or something like that. AWS.training. AWS.training. You wouldn't even think that's a domain. And then you book it via Pearson VUE or PSI Online. For Azure, you book it via Microsoft Learn. Okay, from Terraform, you book it. Or sorry, we did HashiCorp. What's another one like? For CNCF, you create a Linux Foundation account, and then you have the exam through PSI Online. Okay, so you kind of get the idea, right? So, most cloud certifications go through an existing test center network, e.g. Pearson VUE, PSI Online. Okay. In which order should you learn? Okay, so when someone's doing this generic, like when we don't know, because it doesn't say like anything, right? Like what's the context? So if we're talking about like cloud, I would just say like it is a good idea to pick up, or a good idea to study for a fundamental cloud certification, like the AWS CLF CO1, AZ900, CLF, or sorry, GCP CDL. Then advance to an associate certification. While you're doing your associate doing your associate certification, this is a good time to start a cloud project. A certification is not going to get you the job. It's going to help you stay focused with a clear goal and learning path. It can shortlist you for job interviews. A cloud project is going to help you get the job. So You should be working on a cloud project during your associate and afterwards. Okay. Why should I learn cloud computing? Okay. Why should I learn cloud computing? Why should I learn cloud computing? Um, well, I mean, the majority of companies, the majority of tech companies are using cloud in all kinds of capacities. So when I say that, like, they're using a little, like, no matter what company you're using, like nearly any company, like almost any company. So the majority of tech companies are using cloud today. And if they are not today, it will be tomorrow, because the convenience, the cost savings, the effort to go global, the minimal makes it essential to compete with other companies. Okay. It's just, and like, the benefits of cloud computing is the main reason. Like when you're learning cloud fundamentals, there are the cloud benefits, and they explain why. I was trying to give an answer outside of that, because like when you read, like, I'm just going to pull up my slides again here for fundamentals. So here's the CLF CO1 as per example here, but we go to cloud concepts here, and I actually want benefits of cloud, right? So we go here, and these are all the benefits: agility, pay-as-you-go pricing, economy of scale, global reach, security, reliability, high availability, scalability, elasticity. But like, that doesn't really communicate in a way to like someone like really why. That's a lot of advantages as to why you'd use it. But like, there's a fundamental reason. It's just like, if everybody else is using cloud and you're not, you're gonna be in last place. Do you know what I mean? So that's probably like the answer I give. It's like, if everyone is leveraging the advantages or benefits of cloud, and you are not, you're going to be in last place. Okay. All right. And so those advantages again is like agility, pay-as-you-go pricing, economy of scale, global reach, security, reliability, high availability, scalability, elasticity. And that's what we got here. So we'll just go there. Am I missing one? Because that might be AWS's benefits of cloud. Let me just check here, because I have my own. I just can't remember if mine's the last one here. Yeah, current. Yeah, so stays current. Okay, so I hate when this indentation stuff happens. There we go. So cloud computing is table stakes. That's it. It's very hard to get by in the tech industry, or have any sort of like, because it's like, if you aren't adopting cloud and you're just trying to stick in your little corner, unless you're hyper specialized and you already at the top tier, you're basically closing doors for yourself in the future. You know what I mean? Because like, if you want to future-proof yourself, so it's very hard to get by in the tech industry if you aren't already specialized with a high-paying job. So to future-proof your career, or to advance it, you need to start picking up cloud. Okay, I think that's kind of a better answer. Azure, which one should I learn? There's two answers to this. There's two answers to this. Okay, the first is, it doesn't matter. Choose whatever speaks to you. Whatever will keep you motivated and advance your cloud knowledge. Okay? If you start using Azure and you don't like it, you know, switch to GCP or AWS. You know, like, just get to the get your skills up. Okay, that's answer number one. Answer number two, if you want to be strategic about it, it's based on locality. So, you know, a major tech hub. So, like, I'll give you a regional example in Canada. The heart of Toronto. Tech companies are using AWS. In Waterloo, which has a comp sci program, comp sci or a university with best comp sci students. They're using Google Cloud. In between Toronto and Waterloo, everyone is using Azure. Okay, and I'm talking in absolutes, so of course, you know, there are people in Waterloo that are using other things, right? It's not just, you know, this, but the point is like, you know, using absolutes to make an example. Okay, these are really annoying, these little pop-ups here. But so the thing is that you know, you just have to consider, like, there is regional stuff. If you want another take on it, like, you know, there's three answers to this. You know, three answers to this. Okay, you know. Okay, so AWS, if you like working with Linux, you like Legos, like modular, very modular components. Very modular components with lots of interconnections between them. Okay, then you have Azure. So if you are driven to solve, or like if you are working with Windows workloads, you are driven based on solving the business use case. Services are built around that. So you'll have something like Azure App Services that have been Frankenstein to solve a variety of complex cases, e.g. like HPC, which is HPC is like, I forget how, hyper computing power HPC computing, high performance computing. There we go. Like high performance computing. Okay. Okay, and then you have like Google Cloud. So Google Cloud. So fewer, more focused services, clean user interface. Interface, data-driven workloads. You know, so there is some kind of like logic to those preferences there. I want this to be like this. Okay. So just so you know, like there's no perfect answer to this stuff, but you can answer it 3 different ways, right? I have no IT background. Is it possible to make a career and change? Okay, so IT stands for information technology, right? To me, that means a background working with physical, with background in computer repair, monitoring or like managing a suite of computers for a company, working in a data center. Okay. That's what I call someone doing DevOps or administrator or IT engineer. You don't need an IT background. Okay. So, my path, a path could be programming. So like a lot of people come in as like developers, right? You can go into those things, but you don't need to have any kind of background. So you don't need any IT background. You don't need any, well, I mean like you will need to pick up some technical skills. So general knowledge of like, I'd say you don't need any. You don't need any, but the problem is like when somebody's coming from zero background, they still have to like learn some programming, So a slow introduction to cloud would be building a web application using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and deploying it to Heroku or that might be a very simple example. So you do need to learn basic programming, scripting, Linux. There are lots of free content on Free Code Camp aimed for beginners. Okay. Are cloud services to land me a job? No. In most cases, no. They will shortlist you. They will get you to stand out, but you need a cloud project. Okay? Okay? Maybe I don't have to scream that at them. There are cases where companies. Well, no, honestly, no. In most cases, no. So there are certifications that are recognized, that are required for some jobs, e.g. CompTIA in the public sector. But in most cases, certifications are there to... Okay, I'll just leave it at that. Interview tips to help you land a cloud-related job. Okay, so at a cloud-related job, you are likely to have to whiteboard an architectural diagram. So build a cloud project and then practice describing the project, drawing out the architectural diagram, and drawing different permutations. As you work on your cloud project, I would recommend creating a technical journal. So you would write your hypothesis on the effort or proposed solution, and then the results, whether it was successful or not. Some roles you might want to pick up systems engineering. It's really dependent on the role, right? So like cloud engineer, build a cloud project, DevOps engineer. I don't know. I'd have to really go into that deep for that. Why should we trust you? I don't know, like 15 years, 15 plus years. I always keep saying 15 years. It's probably like 20 years now. But it's like 15 plus years as a CTO for multiple startups. You know, I think I'm the only content creator creating full courses across the cloud. You still there, Sam? Okay, you're following this? Okay, so 15 years as CTO for multiple startups. I'm the only content creator creating full courses across the cloud. Like, who does that? I'm the only person that does that, right? Um, you know, um, and I got, let's just follow me. Follow me on Twitter, and you'll see why. Okay. Well, I mean, you come to my Twitter Spaces, you'll see why. Like all the knowledge. Is Network Plus needed for AWS? They might be talking about the CompTIA one. So CompTIA Network Plus, yeah, they probably are. So they're talking about this. I'm trying to find like just the direct link to it. The CompTIA Network Plus is not required, or is not a prerequisite of learning AWS, learning and utilizing having good networking knowledge can make things a lot easier, but you can absolutely get by with next to no cloud knowledge and learn on the job, okay? Cloud abstracts away a lot of networking, okay? That's not to say that networking's not good. I have a lot of friends that are network engineers, and having networking knowledge can give you superpowers, basically, but you don't need it. I definitely am terrible at networking. The only certification course I probably won't make is the advanced AWS Advanced like networking certification, because I just don't like networking. How long do I have access to this course? ExamPro study courses are available for 1 year from the time of purchase. Okay, is there a subscription? We currently do not offer a subscription to all courses. We will in the future offer both single time payment and a subscription. We are just waiting for our catalog to be large enough to offer subscription. Okay. What do the courses include? ExamPro offers the video. Generally, ExamPro study courses generally offer the videos free. For paid users, they have access to many additional study materials. Okay, so that's where we talk about practice exams, Quizlets, flashcards. So this is like quiz after every video. Support from cloud engineers. Ask questions for cloud support engineers. Oh, what else? Downloadable slides, lecture slides, downloadable cheat sheets. I don't have any, how do I get started? If you have some technical knowledge, like basic programming with HTML, CSS, and JS, then then it's recommended you start with a fundamental cloud certification, e.g. CLF CO1, AZ900, GCP CDL. Within the fundamental certification courses, there'll be there'll be recommended journey paths. Okay. If you have no technical knowledge whatsoever, I recommend going over to Free Code Camp's free cloud course, or free, they don't have cloud courses, free programming courses in things like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. Course outcome. Well, I mean, it really depends on the course, but yeah, I can't answer this one because it really depends on the course, right? But like most courses, but if we ask generally, I guess, so most courses will give you a good amount of broad knowledge and some practical applications and the ability to pass an exam. You need to spend time on a cloud project to prove the knowledge that you have gained in order to obtain a cloud role. Okay? Is support provided? Yeah, so for ExamPro paid users, we provide support for technical questions, right? If there are issues with the ExamPro platform, then we provide support, educational, okay, technical, we provide technical support, right? You know, so if you buy the wrong course, we can swap it out for you. You know, if you you know, it's like things like that. That's something that people ask a lot, right? So are AWS certifications a good way to boot I think they mean like to boot, like to start it up. You know what I mean? Like to, let's just say like kickstart an IT career. I mean, like information technology, because it's such a generic term. People always say IT, but like information is things like networking, computer repair, monitoring a suite of computers for an organization. You could say monitoring or administrating. Okay. For IT, I would recommend Azure, Microsoft Azure. Since most companies run Windows-based workloads, I would recommend the AZ900 and then the AZ104. Do you offer any free training resources? Well, I mean, our video content, most of our video content is free. So we offer self-served training. We have had in-person and online workshops. We might in the future offer free study groups. Or like we might offer free study groups. How to connect with Andrew from ExamPro? Well, I'd say Andrew is both on Twitter and LinkedIn, right? So okay, and I'm gonna just see if I can. I'm not gonna look it up because I'm sure if I logged to my LinkedIn, but I'm just gonna do this. LinkedIn. You can message him, and he does reply often. If it is relating to ExamPro content, then you'll get redirected. People generally want to ask Andrew career advice, and so those reply. This is me doing it right now. You know what I mean? It's just like if somebody messages me on Twitter, I get so many people asking me. I do reply to a lot of people, but there's a lot of people I don't reply to as well. So, I would just say like if it's want to and he does reply to a lot of people, but there is a lot of people that don't get replies due to volume. You should ask your question anyway, because sometimes Andrew will do large form articles answering questions, right? So like if someone asks me, like so many people ask me like how to become a cloud security engineer, then I'll go write an article like on imcloud.dev. So imcloud.dev, so this website over here. Okay, so I noticed a mistake and typo in your program. How do I notify you? Support at exampro.co. Andrew is dyslexic. Okay, so it's true. Like if you tell me, I just don't care. Andrew's dyslexic, so video content is very difficult to update just because of typos or spelling mistakes. So we generally point out mistakes in our study notes on the ExamPro platform. We don't reshoot videos. Unfortunately, Grammarly does not work in PowerPoint. Otherwise, we would catch all these mistakes. We are getting better. So we are getting better. Please still report mistakes so when we film the video again, we can fix them. Okay? Because, we will, but it's just like sometimes there's just like spelling mistakes that live for a long time. The AWS Management Console looks different in the videos. Why is this? So, cloud, both AWS and Azure change their consoles, portals constantly. Okay, so, part of learning cloud is dealing with changes, and cloud changes quickly. So if there are minor UI changes. We don't refilm follow-alongs. If there are major changes, we do. And so, like, you know, my CLF CO1 that I released, like, not even a month ago, like, literally a week later, AWS changed the management console. And they changed it again, and they changed it again. So, you know, it's just like part of learning clouds and cloud changes quickly. So, you know, I'm not going to reshoot it every 2 seconds. Am I able to get a pro cert if I have all my associates? No, I mean, not necessarily. No, because studying for professionals is 10 times harder than the associates. You have to approach studying for professionals in a different way, okay? It is not recommended to obtain every single associate before proceeding to professional. If you want to do all the associates, it's recommended to study them all at the same time. Okay? What's the difference between free content and paid? The only content we guarantee to be free is video content. Sometimes we have a free practice exam or other layered content. When you are paying for an ExamPro, paying for ExamPro, you are getting videos, served in Vimeo instead of YouTube. You are getting Quizlets, flashcards, so Quizlets, so a comprehension, or like a quiz at the end of every video. Practice exams, technical educational support, cheat sheets, downloadable cheat sheets, downloadable lecture slides. Okay. Someone recently, they're like, oh, I paid for the CLF CO1, but the videos are free, so I want a refund. And I'm just like, give me a break. You know what I mean? Like, because it's already free, you know what I mean? And they bought it, and what happened is they went in and they did some of the practice exams, and they're just like, well, I don't want free content. So I was like, it's really hard making free content, and it's just like, it's $21. You know what I mean? Like, it's frustrating. But anyway, this is how some people are, so. But a lot of people do. Like another person that that follows me on Twitter, they saw that it was free, used the free content, and then paid afterwards to say thank you for the stuff. So, you know, there's that positivity as well. How important is learning the CLI? So command line. Whoops, why is that blue? I don't want blue. Get out of here. Command line interface. At the associate level is essential, okay? Using the CLI is something that is common, is something that is commonly done every day for cloud roles. Okay, so you want to learn how to use the CLI, okay? Now, you don't have to be like an expert in it. You don't have to be a CLI expert, okay? Be able to get some things done in it. Okay. I feel like this is like a heading here. If there was a heading here, still general? Oh, we're still going. Okay, let's go down here. Is this course new and designed for the CLF 1 exam? So yes, the CLF CO1 is very new. Okay. And it also contains knowledge found in other cloud service provider fundamental certification course, making it the most well-rounded study course produced by ExamPro. Okay. You know, the like the CLF CO1 does not change much. So you know, even the old course, which was almost 3 years old, people were still passing for the new exam. Okay. The CCP is the CLF CO1. AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. You can skip the CLF CO1, but you can't really skip Cloud Fundamentals. So you might as well do it anyway. You can skip taking the exam, but you still need to go through the content. And I explain a lot because this one was one where I really wanted people to understand why. Okay. And it's in, I'm just looking for it here. I think I have it in my introduction for the CLF CO1. I'm just going to open this off screen here for a second. So we go here and we're going to go to, I'm just looking for my introduction here. Because I literally made like 3 slides on this, I could have swore. So, so we go into here, you're new, what is the value? Okay, so that's what I want. It provides the most expansive view. I'm just trying to find somewhere off screen here to paste this in so I can get rid of the formatting. I'll just paste it in and then remove that. Okay, so nope, see it's doing something weird. So I'll just go off to here and then paste it in. And we will flip back over to here. Okay, so one thing is that this exam definitely covers things that are not found in any other exam. Definitely that is the case. Okay. The exam covers content not found. It is recommended as essential study for your AWS journey. Okay, and this is the other one here. I'm just going to paste it in here. So this is for big picture thinking here. So we'll go here. The idea is of thinking, zooming out, assessing cloud landscape for changes, for changes, trends, and opportunities, being strategic about your journey. Okay. Does this course include demos and labs? All of our courses include labs. We call labs follow-alongs. Okay. Okay. Does this course include practice exams? All of our courses include practice exams. Are the exam questions for the CCP scenario based? I mean, the questions for the CLF, they're not super, like most of them are because like when you take yeah, you sure scenario based. So this are scenario based, but not to the complexity found in the associate level certifications. So you don't have to fully work through a scenario to get at the answer, right? Like sometimes like information's inferred, you know, so like like you have to really understand the scenario. So you don't. So the question, like, the questions are scenario based, but are not complex, but not to the complexity found in the associate level search. So you don't need to fully work through a scenario to get to at the answer. Okay, yeah, that's it. Is this course up to date? Yes. You know, we don't update a course for every minor change. We like because like the thing is that the video the video content is only half of the study material. The other half is the practice exams, and we focus on keeping our practice exams more up to date than the video content, right? Because people think like, oh, if I miss this one little thing here, but you know, if you have good practice exam questions, you're always going to go investigate and get that additional information, right? How many days, months do I need to prepare for the CCP? I have it in here again. It's all in here. So on average, 14 days, 1 to 2 hours. Oh, no prior experience? So 30 hours for someone with no experience. 6 hours for someone who already uses the cloud. 24 hours on average. Study time should take 14 days with a few hours per day. Okay. Are there any prerequisites to enroll in these training courses? We're talking about the CLF CO1, but generally, like at the associate, at the fundamental levels, at the fundamental certifications, like the CLF CO1, the AZ900, the GCP CDL, you don't need any prerequisites. But if you are really not technical whatsoever, and you find the course material hard to grasp, then spending some time learning about Linux and programming on Free Code Camp would be a good prerequisite. Until we get our micro certifications out. I mean, that stuff is always good. They're always going to be good. I'm just saying, like, there's some stuff that I'm thinking for cloud specifically. Who is this course suitable for requirements? You know, somebody, like, if you are tech savvy, e.g., you know how to use your computer pretty well, right? So, like, what I'm trying to say here is, like, if you are already good with computers, like Sam, like, you know how to use your computer, right? So that's what we're talking about, right? If you're really bad with computers, like if you don't like computers at all, you know, if you don't like computers at all, not technical at all, then these courses aren't for you. If you like working on computers and you have general computer skills, we're talking like Facebook, Twitter, you know, like Excel, Word, you know, like Google, then you are in a good position to move into a tech or cloud career. Okay. Okay. And notice these are kind of generic. So, you know, because I know it was CLF, but I just figured I'd write them more generic. Okay. Okay, same questions, right? Sam? Okay, I'm not writing twice. Unless there's ones that are like in particular, and maybe we'll have to cherry pick those out, okay? So a lot of these, and you can get this out yourself, but a lot of these are in here, right? In the introductions. So you should be watching my introductions and just extracting that information out. Okay, so if they're all the same, then yeah, okay, that's what I'm looking for here. What is the difference between server access logging and object logging level in S3? Ugh. Like this kind of stuff is like, this is for technical support, right? They pay to be on our platform and we'll answer these questions, right? Because like if it's not like career related or general related, that's not going to be public facing that we're doing. Because if you want these questions, it's like now we're doing support for you, right? Technical support, and that's very time consuming. And at this level, unless it's like related to your learning journey, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to answer those. So because this is all of my course, right? It's like go take my course. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you see those, it's like that stuff is like I could be burdened with this forever. Like, there's a website AWS just released called Repost, right? I'm just looking it up here, and so it's this website here, right? It's like Stack Overflow, and then people ask these questions, like whatever, whatever, you know. And if they want to ask the question, I'll be here and answer them here because at least if I'm answering them here, I'm getting like upvotes and stuff like that. But like bringing these to me is just like, it overwhelms me. So I'm not touching any of these. These are gone. Boom. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like we're not there to answer that kind of stuff. That's tech support. And actually we do answer those if you pay on ExamPro. We have cloud support engineers and they'll look it up for you and kind of help you with it. But really even still then like if it's not part of the learning journey, like you either use Repost or you pay for support. AWS has support. You pay $20 a month. You can ask all those questions there. Don't bring them to me, right? I'm not support. But anyway, so yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna go post this on what do you call it? YouTube, and so it'll give introspective of like these answers for people here. This is stuff I've answered all before. It's just that we're going through a list here for people that are watching. If you do have questions, you can ask them. If they are like these and they're not tech support questions, happy to answer them or re-answer the same thing in a different way a few more times. So there you go.